Okay, good evening, everyone. This is Chad Gasser. I'm with the Owensboro-Daviess County 2020 Census Committee, and I'm here this evening with another update on local response rates. And this evening, I'm also going to introduce another website to you to show you a new way of looking at some of the information that we'll be tracking over the next several months. So, what you see on your screen is our website, the ODC Census 2020 website, and from here I'm going to show you where a couple links are. So we're going to be taking a look at the census response rates. This is directly from the Census Bureau, and then I'm also going to briefly show you a link here with these hard to count maps, some really good information that we're going to be utilizing to drill down a little bit closer to our neighborhoods and census tracts to try to better target our awareness activities and our effort of getting a complete census over the next several months. One announcement that I will make in the event that this is new information, we know now that the census will be taking responses up to October 31st. So the census gathering process did not end on April 1st. It was designed to go through the summer, but with the coronavirus situation and the need to have people stay at home, that meant that the Census Bureau is not going to be able to get people out knocking on door to door to get responses for those places that have not responded. And of course, Owensboro-Daviess County has done well up to this point, but we still have a long way to go. There are anywhere from 60% to 30% of the population, depending on neighborhood, that still hasn't completed their 2020 census survey. So let's jump right into the response rates. We're going to go in here and let me just cut myself out of the picture here. So again, we're going to go over here to get the facts and down to response rates. This is directly from the Census Bureau, and this will give you a chance to see where we stand relative to the United States. The blue is good in this case. Of course, what we see here is Minnesota has the highest total self-response rate at 59.2% of all the states, and we're at 51.5. I think we're actually ranked around 15th or 17th as of today, April 16th, 2020. So we're going to drill down a little bit into Kentucky, and we're going to look at where we stand relative to other localities, just as we have on several occasions in the last few weeks. Again, blue and dark blue is a positive thing, and of course we're at 61%, and I'll show you where we rank relative to these other blue areas here in just a few moments. You also can look at census tract, and that's what we want to spend a little bit of our time on this evening. And as we pull up the census tract here, and the census tract map in Owensboro-Daviess County, we're going to get a little bit closer. And the blue is good, and I'm going to show you how this varies across the county. We're really going to focus on the inside the bypass, generally speaking. Now, again, track 7 still stands as the overwhelming, leader in response rate. Well, not overwhelming anymore. We've got track 6 is really close, and the tracks around track 7 and even out here in the county are actually responding quite well. We really have a high rate of internet response in most tracks where response is good. But again, in track 7, look how low the internet response rate is. That's really interesting because what's happening in that tract is people are more likely to turn in their census by phone or by paper. Now, these areas in this light shade of pink here are the areas where the response rate is a little bit lower. In some of these cases, they're actually not too much lower than some of the larger response rate areas in our city and in our county. But this is certainly some areas where we're going to be focusing our efforts on over the summer. Again, we still have 70%. 2010 self-response rate was almost 80%. So, and again, that's track 7. That's the largest reporting track in our area. So we do expect that to pick up still, and all these areas still have a way to go to reach that 80-85% expected goal that we have for Owensboro-Daviess County. So just to give you an idea about where we stand now relative to other cities and counties, we've slipped back a little bit in terms of being the top largest city in response rate, just behind Georgetown, but we're still holding strong here above some of our other competitor cities. We slipped just a little bit here down to 4th in terms of overall counties, just barely behind Spencer and Boone. Of course, Oldham still is in the lead there. This graphic will be posted on our Facebook page soon after, this evening of April 16th. So another thing that I want to visit here, going back to our census website, this hard to count maps. Okay, so if we click hard to count maps, what we're looking at here is an examination of the data that was put together. This data analysis website, I believe it was put together. I should have that information for you, but I believe it was put together by the New York Times. Anyway, this is looking at the same data, but it gives us some more options to look at how certain characteristics in our population might affect response rates and that sort of thing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to go and I have my location data turned on my computer. So I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to back out just a little bit. And you can see this looks similar to the response rate maps from the Census Bureau. Okay, what we're going to do here is go on, click this down arrow, and actually up here we're going to click Show Info for Tracks. Okay, so we're going to do that, and when we click this census tract, of course it's going to come over here. It's going to tell us what the response rate is as of this says April 16th, but I believe this is actually based on April 15th. And then you can get an idea about how this tract has performed over time, okay? I'm sorry. The final 2010 rate is right here. This is overall right here. And what you see in the green is going to be internet. So, for example, if we look at this tract, look at the difference here. So in this tract, we have a much higher response based on the internet, okay? Let me go out here and show you an example out here in the county. This marks April 1st on Census Day. Now, what you see here, this is extremely interesting, but the internet response rate is so high in this census tract that it almost coincides directly with the overall rate. So that's a very interesting piece, and what it allows us to do is say, okay, which neighborhoods in Owensboro-Daviess County are more likely to respond via the internet, which neighborhoods are not. And then you can start asking additional questions as to how do we try to increase those response rates, what kinds of awareness activities, what kind of marketing, how can we reach these neighborhood and residential areas to get a higher census response rate. So what this also allows us to do is we're going to drill down here a little bit more, and there's a piece of information after talking with our census representative, Molly McCarroll, that I found kind of interesting. So if we look at this census tract, now again, our top census tract just down here, census tract 7 is 70%. This census tract, look at this, it's 44.4. That's, close to half of what our top census tract is. And that really is unusual. Owensboro-Daviess County is a pretty close, census tract area. So there's got to be something going on here. And after further discussion, one thing we realized is that Brescia University is just in this area right here. And of course, we know that many college students have left their residential dorms due to the coronavirus and have went back home to where they're originally from in many cases. And we may have an issue with a lot of these people not reporting their census data. And again, when you report the census data, you report where were you as of April 1st, 2020. And so if there's been some confusion nationwide even to make sure college students are reporting from where they are in college on April 1st. And of course, that's a big reason why we see this response rate as low as it is. Now, the good news is that we can, and the Census Bureau will do this, not locally, but the Census Bureau will go back and look at the data and will compare 2020 response rates to 2010 and also to 2000. And where they see major discrepancies in the data, there are sophisticated statistical measures that they can use to compensate for those errors in the data. And that's something, the issue of college students reporting from Brescia, for example, that's something that can be reconciled at the end of this data gathering process. So as we look back out a little bit further, so again, a good thing about this particular tool is that we can now see street names, neighborhoods, and major landmarks in these census tracts. And actually, this is going to help guide us in the types of activities that we can employ while we're waiting to be able to get back out and go door to door, or maybe meet people where they are to promote the census and completion. And even beyond that, what kinds of things can we do to try to reach these people between now and October 31st? So now the Census Bureau is slated, at the most recent press release within the last couple of days is the Census Bureau will have people on the ground knocking door to door as early as the first week of June in Owensboro-Daviess County. So that's something for us to look forward to as well. So again, we're going to elaborate on this a little bit more in coming updates. We're going to overlap some different characteristics and factors that help us to look at demographic differences across the city and the county. And but for now, that's all we're going to do for this update. And I'll just leave you again with a look at where we are with response rates as of April 15th. So thanks for your time, and we look forward to keeping you posted. And if you have any questions, feel free to visit our website and to contact us and let us know if we can help you out. Thank you.